A bluegrass jam is a space to work on your improv and your playing with others. And the only way to do that is to do it, right? There's just no quick fix, there's no easy way to get around that. Yes, there's things on YouTube that you can play along with. There's machines that play backing tracks for you, but at the end of the day, nothing beats getting together with other humans to create music and create that community and just be there with each other. So I started playing fiddle when I was 6 years old. I started due to my dad had a bluegrass gospel band when I was growing up called Light at the River. I should preface this by saying I grew up in North Dakota, which is not entirely known to be the hotbed of bluegrass music. I just remember sitting on the fiddle player's lap, and then when I was 6 years old, my mom and dad were like, "Do you want to try something?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to do the fiddle." So they put me in fiddle lessons. I've been playing ever since then. I grew up with a foot in both worlds, meaning I played in orchestra all through high school, and then also in a family bluegrass band from 4th grade on. Ended up studying music at East Tennessee State University, getting my minor in bluegrass. Throughout my entire childhood as well, my dad ran a bluegrass association in North Dakota and helped put on a bluegrass festival. So, you know, my daddy is known as the father of North Dakota bluegrass. So I come by it naturally. Right, or if I'm struggling with rhythm and you feel really confident, kind of just bringing that this way to drive that rhythm in a little bit more. And then maybe, oh, I'll hear that I'm not quite with him and I should try to hear that. So those are the kinds of things that as a leader, you can kind of start to think about, even just body positionality, which is a wild thing to think about. You know, so the association idea began with a friend of mine, Jody Harbin, and I eating lunch at Soccer Taco on Market Square one day. And we were talking about growing up or living in places that had a very active bluegrass association and what that meant for the community and how that helped build and strengthen. Unfortunately, sometimes bluegrass jams have a bad reputation of being not welcoming. They can be very elitist at times, and we wanted to create a space and a place for people to be welcomed, and from everyone from beginner up to the pro. There's not a lot of opportunity for those folks that are kind of in that middle ground of the amateur hobbyist that doesn't really have a good outlet or other people to play music with. And so starting this association, we wanted to make a very welcoming community and a space for those types of folks to find people to be with and hone their skills. In a traditional bluegrass jam, you sit in a circle, and this is what kind of varies bluegrass versus old time. I get asked that question a lot. Old time jams are what I say are an all play situation a lot of times, where kind of one person calls out a tune and everyone plays the melody together. In a bluegrass jam, bluegrass being a little bit more akin to, like, if you think of like jazz in that virtuosic kind of element. So every person in the circle gets the chance to call a song. So if there's a song that you've been working on and you really want to play that week, you say, when it gets to you in the circle, you say, "I'm going to do this song," and then you're kind of in charge of it. And it goes around the circle that way, and passing breaks, passing song choice. So it gives everyone an equal opportunity to be involved in the jam. To really be effective, you know, you need about 4 or 5 pickers. Hopefully you get a bass player. Hopefully you have a good acoustic guitar player that knows the songs, that knows the chords, so people can follow along. Beyond that, having a strong jam leader, that's one of the things. We actually have a jam leadership workshop that we're working on to help train up leaders in kind of the, I guess, the style that we've become known for, that really helps in a community jam setting as well. Because again, if you don't have that strong leadership, it kind of can just crumble into a free-for-all, which if you're a new person coming in and maybe a quieter or shyer or just not as sure player, it's easy to get trampled and taken over. So having that leadership, having that bit of structure really creates a space for everyone. I like to say we're like Planet Fitness. There's no judgment here.
I think we went to a jam there in Walland called Rocky Branch, and me and my brother just went to go and watch. And on the way home, my dad was trying to convince me. He was like, you should learn how to play something. You should learn how to play an instrument. And I really didn't want to at first. I was really hesitant. But the next day, he showed me a couple notes on the bass, like a G and a D, and I've just really fallen in love with it since then. But at this point, I've been playing for about 2 years, and ETMBA has taught me a lot about like how to jam with people and how to play with people who maybe you've never met before. And this year we got to go to IBMA, and I got to jam with all kinds of really good pickers. So it's good to kind of have that knowledge. Get in there and show up. Most of it is just being there and showing up.
One of my friends who's now moved on to Ohio, she got me involved in the association and took me to one of the jams actually here. This is my first jam I went to here at Trailhead, and it was so fun. I love getting to play in a group. My brother actually does not play bluegrass. He actually commented on one of the jams. He said, I think it's so cool that you all may not even know each other that well, but you all know the same songs. And you're able to play it by ear, and you're able to say, kind of look over and glance if they're gonna pass a break, meaning they're not gonna take a lead, they'll pass it on to the next. Sometimes you get 2 or 3 people in a row that'll pass the lead on, you're like, oh, okay, it's my turn. And sometimes that can happen 2 or 3 times in a song if nobody knows it. There's a lot of nonverbal communication that goes into it.
So when people talk about, can I come listen to this jam, Evie? I say, yes, come, hang out, listen, but don't expect a performance. You know, we're here to make music with each other. That's why the circle exists, right? We're not facing an audience. And so for those beginner players or that person that's played for a while but isn't really used to playing with others, I say this is the best way to start that, man. Whether you're listening, whether you're playing, it's just nothing better.